Well, let's see what the luck of 7 is. Noel.
Thank you. Hi. Can you hear me? Is this thing on? Cool. Wow. This is my 3rd year here at Lyft, and it's such an honor to be moving from the far back room over there now up to the front stage. This is also the 2nd year of the open participation, which is something that's really, really cool, and that keeps on bringing me back here to Geneva because it's a unique opportunity where all of us can come together and find our way up here and to sound like an idiot ever so often. But my name is Noel, No-Neck Noel. I've spent the last 7 months traveling around the world. Believe it or not, I didn't actually pay to travel around the world. I had people pay me to travel around the world. I made an agreement with them. I said that if they gave me $11.11, I'd write them a children's book, an illustrated children's book. And everything is going to be under Creative Commons. Why? Because there's this thing called free culture, right? Well, we supposedly live in a free society where we're allowed to do things freely, but if you are in New York and you happen to have more than, I think it's like 49 people, you can be arrested for walking down the street wearing a political T-shirt. So in the grand context of things, we're really not living in a free society, but yet we want to live in a free society. And what's really, really interesting is that for the past 7 months, I've traveled around the world. I set out to travel to the 7 continents. I left on 7/7/07. I think my budget was supposed to be $7,777. I called the name of the trip On the Luck of 7. I wanted to see the 7 ancient wonders of the world. I wanted to dive into the 7 great oceans. I have an affinity towards 7 because 7 is a very spiritual number. You can find it throughout every single philosophy, religion. I don't know. It's just kind of one of those weird things. Because like DNA, the X and the Y chromosome, there's 4 points on the female, there's 3 on the male. Bring them together, it makes 7. 7 supposedly is that perfect number, right? So 7 is something that prevails everything. And because there was a unique opportunity on 7/7/07, I decided to see what the world was about and explore 7 topics of freedom. Now, I'm really nervous. I'm not going to lie. So I set out to find that there are 7 great lessons. And the 7 great lessons all originate within the 7 topics. The 7 topics are free culture. Free culture is this notion grew out of this. It grew to be a movement, a student movement that was inspired by one book. You know, in the 60s, there were these great manifestos, and in the late 90s, you had a bunch of people writing these crazy manifestos. Well, there was this lawyer who kind of did his legal case up against Microsoft. His name is Lawrence Lessig, and wrote this book called Free Culture, and it was how intellectual property and copyrights are kind of ruining our ability to be free. And it grew to be this monumental understanding where we get Creative Commons, where we get this, that and a few other things with a bunch of people that are quite notable in this room, wrote a few books, and I'm not going to be able to recall them right now, but they built this understanding where we are living in a participatory society. Why doesn't that society reflect itself online? We all know this, right? So free culture apparently works its way right into free software. And free software, I'm sure, as a Firefox user, you're out there, you know that you can file a bug report. You can actually enhance Firefox infinitely. Wow, 5 minutes is a really short time. So bloggers, vloggers, podcasters, couch surfers, it's an amazing opportunity to travel around the world and see people who are opening up their lives, not only just in regards to what they're thinking, feeling, photographs that they're taking, the videos that they're putting on, but also to the fact that they're inviting you into their homes, that you can sit down and have dinner with them. And if you should all check out couchsurfing.com and Hospitality Club, and you'll never have to travel and pay for a hotel again. I'm dead serious about that, and that's one of the coolest things ever. So let's see, couch surfing, there was blogging, vlogging, podcasters, notion of that we are now living within this participatory society, and we really don't want to actually be within these structured environments, kind of like having one person up here tell you what they think, and that's how the world should be. So there's this whole notion of unconferencing, which is an extension of open space technology, which is really used for workshops of world domination and global peace, but we're actually using it to figure out what's wrong with society and using it to promote open source and to have an open and constructive conversation. That then spills into the whole notion of not couch surfing, but co-working, this idea that we're now living within an environment where as independents and as freelancers and as people that work on one continent but are employers on another, we need spaces where we can come together and where we can have an opportunity to congeal our brains and find like-minded individuals. And that happens to also segue into the whole great idea of conversation, which we'd like to have in structured environments like meetups or just weekend dev sessions and happenstance, the sheer accident of existence. We may have been here because of a plan, but when we set forth and we walk out that front door, we never know what's going to happen. And I forget what my last one was. Happenstance. Oh, I'm nervous. Thank you. But I have one last thing to say. I know that there are a bunch of people in this room that have contributed money to me, and I don't know who all of them are. So if you could stand up for a second so I can just see where you guys are located. Okay. In the back of the room. This is the amazing thing. These people paid for my trip around the world for 7 months. They were my support.
Thank you, guys. Stay here. Don't go away. Climate change.
Huh?
Yeah, it's climate change.
The last one, oh, yeah. Well, the last one is climate change.
So, because it's not important, take 1 minute for that.
Okay. Well, yeah, because climate change really is important. But actually, climate change, I discovered, has two definitions. Climate change not only is this world that we're embarking on where the world and the temperature is changing, but it also melded into this thing called the environment and how we're using tools, in particularly a great organization in Ahmedabad called Video Volunteers, where they educate illiterate villagers to create a monthly news magazine to tell their story. So you can see where vlogs exist in one particular context, but now all of a sudden we're having illiterate individuals learning to use computers and camcorders to describe their environment and to explore their environment and to document their environment and to solve their own problems. And the environment, sadly, my friend is the internet organizer for Greenpeace, and I can look at all these different computers and know the pollution that's going into these to the landfills and where this pollution is finding its way on the other side of the world. So when you go out to recycle your computer or your electronics, there's one thing that you really have to be concerned about, and that is you really need to know whose life you're endangering when you hand off your computer. It's not a joke. It's a serious matter. But look for community organizations like Free Geek that exist, or other organizations that take the time to ensure that computers are disassembled in a responsible manner, that all electronics are disassembled in a responsible manner. So that's my 7th topic that I discovered. On 7708, I'm actually going to reboot the journey, and I'm not going to travel around the world, but you can follow weekly episodes that I wasn't able to produce while I was traveling. And hopefully next year at Lyft, there will be a movie that we'll have which will be the actual documentary that I'm producing from all of this. And all of it is going to be under Creative Commons. All of it is going to be free. All of it you can take and remix and mash up and do whatever you want. So it's my thank you for your gift. Thank you.
And you're still accepting donations on the blog?
Yeah, I still have $250 roughly to get, so that way I can say that I made $7,777. So